Hey, this is Pink Pantyhose, where comedy meets feminism. I'm your host, Naya, and thank you all for listening to my podcast. You can do anything with your ears. You can clean your ears, you can pierce your ears, but the fact that you're giving me your ears to listen to my podcast, I appreciate you so much. So, today, we are talking about dating conversations with my 10-year-old niece. Now, if you know me, you know that I love and adore my 10-year-old niece, Bree. She was born when I was 16 years old, and we've been tight ever since she was a baby. Some of my fondest memories of Bree was when I was in high school. I would come home and I would see her in my mom's bedroom. My mom was her babysitter. And I would just hug on her and kiss on her, hold her, and just fall in love with those beautiful bluish green eyes. And as she's been getting older, we've gotten closer. We will spend time with each other. I would read to her. She'll read to me. We'll play games together, watch movies and TVs. Sometimes I'll take her downtown because she lives in the suburbs, my hometown. And as she's gotten older, I've been coaching myself and mentally preparing myself. Like, she's not going to be a baby anymore. She's going to grow up. Puberty's happening, and she's going to like boys. And boys have come up in conversation. She'll tell me about boys that she likes and boys that like her and how she broke up with someone. In the summer of her 10th birthday, I remember I went into her bedroom and she was really quiet. She was laying down on a bunk bed, and I found out that she got in trouble at her other aunt's house. Her other aunt that she told me about, she said that she does too much, and I'm her favorite aunt. But she was in her other aunt's kitchen, and there was a boy and another girl. And she told me that she got caught kissing a boy. And I was telling her and trying to explain that she got a whooping because there are young girls who are a few years older than her, like her teenage brother's age, who are parents. And I told her that whooping you may have not been the best way to handle the situation, but our family's scared that she'll become a young mom. But as I was talking to her, I made sure to reassure her that it's okay to like boys, kissing's not wrong, having feelings and attraction isn't wrong, because I didn't want to gender her. I have a women's and gender studies background, and I'm a feminist, and I feel continuing the cycle of misogyny and telling girls to stop being fast, to sit down, close your legs, and who you trying to look cute for and all that, that's not helping the world. So I had to try to find a healthy balance and explain to her the realities of the world, but just affirming her that it's okay to like people. And just keep in mind that some boys, they'll just want you for your kisses and they'll run off and tell everyone about it. Because I remember when I was in daycare, I had my first crush. I didn't kiss a boy until I was 13 or 14 years old when I was in 8th grade. So I just want to be that aunt that can be a listening ear, but also give her good life advice. And I remember my mom, she taught me that you always need someone to help you grow up. That adult in your life who's a few years older than you, but they're not your parent, the one who will let you sip a little alcohol, let you listen to that dirty music, keeping the boundaries still, keeping the rules going, but just not being as strict as her parents. And I want her to be able to talk to me in the event she can't talk to her mom. And my philosophy with working and interacting with young people is the way you build relationships is by being transparent, sharing parts of you. So while interacting with my niece, I would tell her stuff about the guys that I like, the guys that like me. And my niece has such a great memory. She'll always bring up the guys I tell her about. The most recent guy I told her about was the math teacher. A few episodes ago, I told y'all about this math teacher who I worked with, who I was so obsessed over. I would show everyone his Facebook pictures. I would tell them, like, oh my gosh, he's so handsome, he's so charming, he loves kids, he flirts with me, blah, 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 blah. And I remember I showed Bree a picture of him with him and his line brothers. And she was like, oh, he's cute. Oh, you like him, blah, blah, blah. The other guy I told her about was back in November 2018. On Thanksgiving, I went on a date with a guy who I met on Tinder, and somehow he came up in conversation. And I told her, like, yeah, Bree, we can't hang out right now because I'm going out on a date to the movies. She said, ooh, with who? What's his name? What's his name? And I told her Derek and that we're going to go see the movies. And she said, oh, okay. And then in October 2018, I was talking to this guy called No Tooth. I met him at school. We started messaging via Facebook. he came to my apartment because it was my roommate's birthday. And then we ended up fooling around on that Saturday. On Sunday, the next day, I came home. I always go home on the weekends. And I was wearing a scarf, this affinity scarf. And it was kind of warm, so I unraveled the scarf and I was talking to Bree, and we were at the park. And she looked so scared and alarmed because she saw red spots on my neck because No Tooth, he gave me some hickeys. And she just looked at my neck like, what is that? And then I told her I couldn't verbally explain it to her because my 7-year-old niece was next to us, and she's a busybody, really smart, and she'll repeat anything that she hears. So I did the gesture of my hand being to my lips, trying to indicate like, oh, it was from kissing. I didn't want to explain the exact details of how I got it, but I just told her I was kissing. And she's like, oh, okay. And then the other guy who she always talks about is John. So I met John in March of 2018. We met on Craigslist. I know, scandalous, trashy, call it what you want. And it was late March, and I remember taking my nephew on a college tour, and I came back and I linked up with John. And I remember coming home from work, I was hungry and I wanted some free food. So John, he was like, "Oh, let's go out to dinner, and I'll send an Uber for you." And I was like, "Okay." And it was a big deal because I was coming from Inglewood, and I was meeting him on the north side. We went to this Indian restaurant, and I knew from the jump this wasn't gonna work out. He was not cute. He was bald. He was older. His teeth were kind of slanted forward. Had glasses. He just wasn't the move I was trying to make. But I was like, let me juice this. Let me get some more free food out of him. Let me get some more free Ubers from him. So we went on another date, and we were kissing and all that stuff. And it was a Mediterranean restaurant, and he was just falling in love with me, just googly-eyed, whatever. And then our last date, that's when I took Bree on a date because I brought her into the city for my job. And then once we left my job, I told her we're going to go to my apartment, chill out for a bit, and then we got to go meet John for dinner. And then she got in the Uber that John sent for us. Hey. And she always wants to sit in the front seat. We went up north and we met John, and Bree instantly gave him a hug, which threw me off. I was like, okay. She's not shy, but I just didn't expect her to give him a hug. So we're eating dinner and we're waiting, we're talking, and John and my niece, they're talking about sports because Bree's an athlete. She self-identifies as a tomboy because she has older brothers and loves sports. And John was just gassing her up like, oh, you're really smart and you're a good athlete, blah, blah, blah. That's really good stats and all that. And I remember Bree dropped something under the table, and John's hand was on my thigh. And then when he left to go to the bathroom, she's like, ooh, his hand was on your leg. Are you two going to kiss? And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Bree, stop it. You're so immature. So John and I went our separate ways. Bree and I went home, and I was talking to her, and I was like, yeah, you see how you bought that dinner and paid for the Uber? Guys are going to want stuff from you, but you don't give them stuff. You let them buy you things and do nice things for you. Don't have them use you. Because I wanted her to teach her the things that I was never taught. And then she brought that up in conversation, like, oh, something, something. And then I told her, I was like, hold up. I know John, he bought me dinner, bought us dinner, and bought the Uber, but know that my bills, this whole apartment, everything is paid for because of me. So know that it's okay if guys buy you stuff, but understand you need to be independent, have your own money, so you can take care of yourself. And she said, oh, okay. And then after that, John and I stopped talking because I just got tired of him. I got tired of faking I liked him and looking at his ugly face. So we stopped talking right before my birthday. And then I went home one day, and then she brought up John. I told her, John and I no longer talk. She's like, why? And then I told her, I just don't think he's cute, and I'm done with him. She's like, well, I didn't like him anyway. Because she liked him a bit when she knew I liked him, but as soon as she found out I stopped liking him, she was like, I don't care about him anymore. And now, months later, it's been 8 or 9 months later, and Bree still brings up all the guys. For example, she'd be like, ooh, John, this, that, and the other. And then I remember she brought up No Tooth, and she said something like, oh, how's the guy who kissed your neck or something? And I'm like, oh. And I was like, I don't talk to him anymore. She'll remember the guys that I talked to, but she won't remember when or why I stopped talking to them. And then she mentioned Derek. She was like, "Oh, what about Derek?" And I was like, "Breathe. That was just a one-time thing, some free popcorn, a free movie." And then she was like, "What about the guy with his friends?" I was like, "Oh, you're talking about math teacher." And that one took me a minute. I was like, "What guy and his friends?" And I remember I showed her the Facebook picture of him with his line brothers. But yeah, that's conversations with my niece about dating and guys. I don't know what to expect in her teenage years, and I just really hope for her that she just has healthy relationships, not just romantic, but friendships and relationships with people at school, and just have positivity and be surrounded by good people. I just hope that she continues to talk to me about things when she starts having sex, or if she's getting her period, or she's having some issues with people. I just want to be that listening ear and not force my values on her, but definitely be that progressive aunt that's like, yeah, here's some life wisdom, but also you don't have to do the same things that your mom did or I did. You can make your own path. But that's my episode. Thank you all for listening to Pink Pantyhose, where comedy meets feminism. I'm your host, Naya, and thank you all for listening. Tune into my next episode. Season 2 is almost over, y'all. Love y'all. Bye.